Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I'm coming to you live from Florida. If you are new to my content, I help people on their healing journey and I guide through physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual healing. And every single Monday, we do a book club. This discussion is really meant to prompt conversations at the intellectual level, as well as help and support with your spiritual growth. This is going to just give you deeper insight. You know, there is so much wisdom that is kept in books. And this is our fourth book that we have done together. If you're joining me live, let me know when you arrive. And if you're catching the replay, let me know that you're on the replay. But we are currently reading The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's basically teaching the spiritual laws that are in place. I mean, we're all familiar with the law of gravity and how that does or does not help us. And, can make us fall. It also can help us fly. So all these things. But if you don't understand how a law works, you can't utilize it properly. Okay. So, hey, Karen, good morning. Hey, Tina. Hey, Charlotte. The law of non-resistance is the law that we are talking about today. Hey, Lou. This is everything. A lot of you have done mastery with me, and I talk about you can't resist, right? What you resist will persist. You cannot resist. You have to have an open heart. You have to allow everything to be here. And she really dives into it in this chapter. I don't know if any of you have realized as you're reading this, if you're reading it live, she kind of jumps all over the place in this book. As I'm trying to get ready for these Monday calls, I'm like, man, she's here, she's there in this sentence, and that sentence she's over there. So anyway, we'll try to have a cohesive conversation. Yes, like mathematics, laws. Yeah, Lou, it's so nice. It's like, oh, well, if I understand the rules of the game, then I can know how to win. And winning in this game of life, to me, is really just about happiness. It's about being able to show up in the present moment and have joy and feel totally fulfilled in what you're doing. So this is how you can get there. Now, she kicks it off and she says, nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person. And I think about this like so many of us, right? We talk about the ego. The ego mind exists and really likes to kind of create conflict. It's like a masochist. It's amazing. So when you have two egos that are kind of going up against each other and resisting one another, it accelerates, right? And we can see, boom, like an explosion. Fights happen. This happens likely in your most personal relationships the most, where there's just this conflict. But nothing can resist. How does she say it? She says, nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person. So what if you opened your heart? What if you just were like the sky, okay with rainbows and hurricanes, all the same? So then when that ego comes at you, you don't resist it. You don't do this number and kick back. You just absorb it, give it love. Eventually, you can't resist that. Eventually, that person will open too. That's just how it works. So... She says, the Chinese say that water is the most powerful element because it's perfectly non-resistant. I had never considered this, but it's so true. You think about water just flows. Like it sloshes, it goes wherever, right? It sort of has the general direction it's moving in because of gravity and whatever other forces, but it's completely non-resistant. It's just like, oh, I'm here now on this rock, and oh, I got stuck here at high tide or low tide, and oh, now we're back. Like it just flows. But over time, it also can create grooves. It can do so much. Those rhymes help to recall. Yeah. What you resist, persist. What you resist, persists. It does rhyme, and it's very helpful. And this was interesting because I thought that, last week, or was it last week? Anyway, all the time. I feel like we talk about duality. And I bring this up all the time, right? It's one of my favorite things. I usually have it on my desk. Right now it's on my bookcase. But this was probably one of the most unique looks I've had at this. She quotes from the Bible a lot, and she says, Jesus Christ said, resist not evil, for he knew in reality there is no evil. So we think about like the yin yang, right? Don't resist what you perceive to be evil, right? Don't resist evil. She goes on to say, he knew in reality there is no evil, therefore nothing to resist. Evil has come of man's vain imagination or a belief in two powers, the powers of good and evil. All right? It's an illusion. There is no good, there is no evil. It's all one, right? Remember the unity that's back here. It's all one thing. It's just that we humans get into a preference. Well, I like this and I don't like this. I want this and I don't want that. And so this was a hard concept. Yeah, Lou, well, stay with me. This might make it easier because the way she explains it, I don't know. I think I've explained it better to the mastery students, and I use this in mastery. I didn't realize. Look, my polka dots. I'm like matching my thing. Totally distracted. Okay, so there is polarity in this life, right? There are things that happen. There's dark and night, there's love and hate, all of these things. But understand, like, in order to understand what light is, you also have to know darkness. In order to understand love, you have to know hate. Like, you need the opposites in order to understand. That's how it works on Earth, right? We need that polarity. The problem we humans get into is that we create duality, meaning we create preference. Well, I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want that. Right? And so all of a sudden we have duality. And so when this shows up, we're upset that it showed up. We don't want it to be here. And that is what gets us into a mess. Versus if we can just be okay with whatever, understanding that one's going to help us appreciate the other, and everything always flows. You know, that's why I have this behind me as well, that tree of life, because in the darkness is where the roots grow. We need those times. It's not better or worse. It's just different. Right? In the light, we can be vibrant and, exuberant, and things can come out, but that's not better or worse, right? Everything has to first be made in the darkness. Like, where'd you come from? The womb. What was it? Very dark. Okay? So, your explanation is good. It's our perception. It is. It's our preference, I would say. Not a perception, but even our preference. It's that I like this and I don't like that. And that is what, she says. That's Adam and Eve eating from the Maya, the tree of illusion. You eat from that tree and you're screwed. Like, literally, you're screwed. You eat from this tree, you separate these two things, and you're done. Like, life is going to be hell for you. And that's because you're believing in two powers. You think one is better than the other, when in reality, it's unity. This is God. This is one. It's all one. But the moment you choose, you've broken up. You're now separate. You don't have the oneness. You with me? High five me. 5 in the chat if you're with me. Okay? This is what it's all about. So we are hypnotized in this world, people that get into duality, and it's a freaking mess. Okay? Resistance is hell, for it places man in a state of torment. A metaphysician once gave me a wonderful recipe for taking every trick in the game of life. So if you want to win the game of life, listen to this. All right? If you want to win the game of life, here is the key. To win the game of life, baptize everything as a success. Okay, so she says, this metaphysician always said, I give every event the same name. If I have a failure, I baptize it success. Every single thing that happened, they said, success. I remember, gosh, who was it? Some entrepreneur, CEO. I cannot remember who it was. But anyway, anytime anything happens, their automatic response is, that's great. That's great. That's great. Whatever the news is, that's great. Right? Baptize it as success. Whatever it is, that's great. I trust in the whole. I trust in the divine plan. Of course, it's perfect timing always. Everything is unfolding for me exactly as it's meant to. I trust, I trust, I trust. So anytime anything happens, don't resist. Just go with how it's supposed to be. I'm leaving tomorrow to go on a family vacation. My sister and her family are flying from Australia. Their flight got canceled. Right? And it's like, uh-oh, well, it took them a while. They got rescheduled. They ended up having to go to Japan. Well, they got a full day in Tokyo, and now they're headed over to the U.S. But how amazing, right? Apparently that was part of the divine plan. Well, you were meant to spend a day in Tokyo and get to experience some unique things with their kids. When else would they have gone to Japan? So you just never know. So baptize everything in success. Everything is great. Everything is great. Everything is great. Who wants to try that this week? I would say we'll get into the habit of doing it this week, and then it should just be the way that you live this life, because clearly that's how you win the game of life. We're learning how to play it, right? So if you're going to do this with me, I'm going to do it. Every single thing that happens, great, great, great. That's success, success, success. Exactly how it's supposed to be. No matter what happens, our mind thinks it should happen one way. Get over it. Your mind cannot see the divine plan all the time. It is very limited, right? Your mind is limited to its own experience. It doesn't know everything. Okay, lose in with me. Perfect. All right, this is called the law of transmutation when you do this. Okay, it's the law of transmutation. Through the spoken word, every failure is transmuted into a success. Into a what? A success. It is transmuted. It is shifted. We create it into a success. Incredible, right? You can do that. You have that power. You're an alchemist. Okay, what'd y'all eat for breakfast? I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I haven't eaten yet. I got really into making some videos. Didn't even realize it was like time for book club. I almost missed it. Thank goodness I have an alarm that goes off, right? My little assistant. But what did you eat for breakfast? I'm going to eat a smoothie after this. That smoothie is going to become me. If you had a bagel, if you had an egg, whatever it was that you had, you shift and change that into you. That thing becomes you. Wild. Who could do that? If something was just a smoothie and then all of a sudden became a person, who would you say did that? Who could do something like that? You'd have to have like the power of God, right? Well, guess what? You do. It's within you. That's what's happening. And we have this ability to transmute everything, right? I'm just talking about food because maybe it's a little bit simpler to understand because we do it every day. But the same exact thing is happening with your thoughts, with the way that you interact, you react, how you choose to be with whatever shows up, okay? All right. Let's go page 36. There's this example of a woman that was resisting a business partner. So she kept being put into business with this man that she didn't like. And basically she tells the story how one day it dawned upon her that she was resisting the situation and seeing two powers instead of one. Seeing duality instead of unity, right? Seeing the two powers, this guy's awful, rather than going, he's part of my flow, he's here for a reason. So she blessed the man and baptized the situation a success. She came back to unity, right? Came back to unity. And she affirmed, as there is only one power, God, this man is here for my good and for my prosperity. Okay, so what is frustrating you right now? Who is frustrating you right now? What situation, what person? Baptize it a success. Say, this is here for a reason. This person's here for a reason. This disease is here for a reason. This roadblock is here for a reason. Baptize it a success. Because if you're resisting it, it will persist. Okay? So what was the result? Well, it turns out, right? She shares that, well, soon enough, this man ended up introducing her to a woman where she made thousands of dollars on a business deal, and he ended up moving away. So he had to come into her life and do that little tango with her for a little while. And then finally, he was the one that introduced her to someone, and he left. It was easy. It was effortless. Set this affirmation. Every man is a golden link in my chain of good. Every man is a golden link in the chain of my good. For all men are God in manifestation, awaiting the opportunity given by man himself to serve the divine plan of his life. Everyone is part of the plan. All of it is. I just watched Game of Thrones. We watched, I think there's 8 seasons. We watched like 5 of them. My boyfriend had never seen it, and I love it. But it's like when you zoom out and you watch that much come, it's like, wow, every little thing had to happen in order for the bigger sort of mission of what needed to happen to save the most number of people, to help the most number of people to occur. Like each person played their role. It's just absolutely amazing. Anyway, if you've not watched Game of Thrones, you need to. Or read the book. The book is so much better. All right, so bless your enemy and you rob him of his ammunition. His arrows will be transmuted into blessings. Bless your enemy and you rob of the transmission, right? If you're like in this space, just bless it. Bring it back to unity. Bring it back to trust in the one, in the divine plan, okay? And you transmute it. All right, when you feel you have no power in a situation, you do. Bring it back internally. You get to decide success or failure. Am I open? Is this okay? Am I happy with this? Right? You choose. You choose. Okay. She then shared like another example of how she was waiting for a really important phone call and she was freaking out about how, oh my gosh, like someone else is going to call, they're going to interrupt the lines, I'm not going to be able to get this phone call that I need. And so she was stressed out the whole day about her phone. Well, lo and behold, the phone ends up being off the hook. She's so stressed out about it. She created the circumstances where literally no one could call her. And she says, instead of saying, divine ideas never conflict, the call will come at the right time, leaving it to infinite intelligence to arrange, I commenced to manage things myself, and I made the battle mine, not God's, and remained tense and anxious. All right, how many times have you done that? Where you have not trusted, and where you have tried to get involved, and put a 1 in the chat if you've done this. I've done it. where your mind takes over and it's like, well, I know how things need to be and I'm going to control the situation. I'm going to manage the situation. I'm going to make sure that it's exactly as it needs to be so that everything can happen in the exact right way that my mind believes it should happen. Well, guess what? Your mind is limited. Okay? Karen's done it. We've all done it, right? Your mind is limited. Okay? You need to let go sometimes. You need to trust that there is a bigger plan, that things will happen. The infinite intelligence knows more than you do. Sorry, little ego of yours, but infinite intelligence knows more. Infinite intelligence can figure things out, can make things happen exactly in ways that like your mind never could have even imagined. Okay? You got to trust that. So she said, as soon as she realized this, I baptized it a success. That's what you can do. Bring it back. It's a success. I cannot lose any call that belongs to me by divine right. I am under grace and not under law. I just loved that. I am under grace, not under law. Like grace. There is just something that is happening, the grace of God, right? Of infinite intelligence, of the divine, of source, of whatever, put your name on it. That is what I'm operating under. So I have full faith and trust. Lou said, you are one of my gold links. So happy to my sister also for and enjoying your friendship. No, I'm glad she is too. I'm glad you are. I love it. You guys are links in mine as well. So she says, one ships must come in over calm seas. So you must be calm. You must be trusting in this. All right. How much turmoil do you kick up trying to control a situation? Trying to insist that it happen just in the right way that your little mind perceives. You create so much inner stress and so much inner turmoil. All right. There is a far greater intelligence that is taking care of everything. It has up to this point. All the twists and turns along the way, right? Didn't they actually end up taking you exactly where you needed to be? In ways that like you never could have thought of, right? Things that felt like an accident, that really ended up changing everything. Yeah. There's something bigger, guys. You're in the back seat. Sorry to tell you. You think you're driving the car. You're in the back seat of this one. You just don't know it. You just don't know it. Okay? Page 38. So long as man resists the situation, he will have it with him. If he runs away from it, it will run after him. Because what's the rhyme we learned? What you resist persists. What you resist persists. All right? So you have to learn or you're going to repeat it. You're going to repeat it again and again and again and again and again until you figure it out. All right? There's a story about this woman who said, you know what? One day I said I've had enough with it. She ran away from her home because her mom was too controlling, ended up getting married, moving in with this man, and then goes, I married my mother. I ended up marrying a guy that was the exact same controlling, right? Because she resisted the mom. It persisted, just came in a new human being. This is what happens. New people, new situations, same old lesson if you don't learn it. Release control. Accept what is, right? These are the things that we need to learn. So there's 4 steps I wrote out. It's easy. Agree that the adverse situation is good. Be undisturbed by it, and it falls away of its own weight. All right? Because, remember this thing? If you're resisting something, but it's within you. If you just open up to it, all of a sudden, all that inner stress is gone. It's just instantaneously. Okay, it doesn't mean you condone what's happening, right? Don't get me wrong. You can then figure out what step to take, but you're not creating inner stress. All right? The inharmonious situation comes from some inharmony within man himself. It is coming from inside of you. You're blaming the outside world, but it's really a thing that's in you that is creating this resistance, this inner stress, this conflict. It's in you. You're the one having that issue. It's inside of you, I promise you. When there is in him no emotional response to an inharmonious situation, it fades away forever from his path. The moment that you stop resisting it internally, all of a sudden, it's gone. The stress is gone, right? You can be in traffic, freaking out, I'm going to be late, I'm going to miss my meeting, blah, 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 blah. And like you're creating all this conflict. You're not changing the traffic. The traffic's already there. Life is neutral. It's happening. You had a way that you thought life was going to happen, and now that it's not, you're resisting the way that it's showing up. Not good for you. The moment you go, okay, I'm in traffic, all of a sudden, the stress inside of you goes away. What can you do? You can take an exit. You can call ahead, say you're going to be late. You can take the call from your car, whatever, right? This is it. This is what you got to figure out. We see man's work is ever within himself. Men's work is always within himself. The game of life and how to play it, master yourself. and simple. That is why I teach inner management mastery. Why? Because if you want to master this world, you need to learn how to manage your inner world. That's why I teach what I teach. That's why I empower you with the knowledge, with the tools, with the techniques to start figuring out how to navigate this inner world, because no one has taught us. And guess what? There is a blueprint. And guess what? There are directions. It's just you weren't taught them in school. I don't know why, right? School is really based on the ego and just helping the intellect. That there's more to you than that. And your body, holy cow, it's like the book of secrets is what my teacher always says. The body's the book of secrets. Yeah, it's got everything in there, right? I'm going down a tangent, but everything's there. Everything is within, okay? I was listening, and are any of you familiar with Sakuru? He has some great content, but we were listening to him this weekend, and he was sharing, like, you know, if I were to just absolutely berate you in Hindi, but I did it with a smile on my face, you would have no idea. Your inner response would be like open and receiving everything. Okay, but the moment that I change into English and I say the same words, you're going to resist. You're going to get angry. Why? I didn't change anything. I was just making sounds. Some of those sounds you interpreted and internally got upset with, and then created a different situation because you were resisting what I was saying. Isn't that amazing? Like, it is. Like, we take things so personally, our ego mind does, but if we can just receive it all, it's like, great, you can throw whatever words you want at me and just, you know, laugh it off. Act like they're talking in a language that you don't understand. You don't have to receive that. Let it bounce off. I just thought it was so beautiful. I don't know if that's landing for you guys, if I explained that very well, but it like hit me and I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right. One is often cured of his faults by seeing them in others. Life is a mirror, and we find only ourselves reflected in our associates. This is key. This was like one of these, like I told you, she was like a squirrel in this chapter. She was talking about this, and she was talking about this, and she was talking about this. This is one of these little squirrel moments, but I was like, I wanted to point it out because what you are upset with in another very likely is your own unresolved stuff. Not very likely, it is. Because as within, so without. Life's just a mirror, and it's reflecting back at you. If you think someone is being controlling, probably you have a control issue. Oops. And it's so beautiful. Once you understand how the game works, that this game of life is just reflecting back at you everything that you know, are needing to learn and needing to realize and needing to kind of clear out of yourself, everything opens up. It's amazing. And the last thing I'll just say, the other rule of the game, living in the past is a failure method and a violation of spiritual law. Man should bless the past and forget it. If it keeps him in bondage, you need to let it go. And bless your future, knowing it has in store for you endless joy, but live fully in the now. That is what you need to do. That is what you need to understand. Okay? You have got to understand that the rule of this game of life, to play it, you cannot live in the past. You absolutely cannot live in the past. If you're living in the past, it has bondage over you, and you're not going to be able to be present. You're going to be seen through the veil of just, you know, whatever in the past. If you're living in the future, well, we're never actually there. That's your imagination. You can be joyful in your future, but really come to the present moment. The way to win this game is to live in the present moment. That's what it's all about. All right? So this chapter, she went on to give some affirmations and things. I don't really want to get into it. I felt like it was a little bit of a detour for the main point of what I wanted to talk with you guys about today. But any questions with this? Any comments? Any stuff that made you go, oh? I hope you enjoyed this. You know, she kind of wrapped up this chapter and said, this is God's idea for man. And when man breaks down the barriers of lack in his own consciousness, the golden age will be his, and every righteous desire of his heart fulfilled. The last part of this chapter was about how to create abundance, you know, in your life. And it's, you know, just being open. You got to be open to it. So if there's no questions on this or other comments, we will connect in Telegram. This week, we're reading the law of karma and the law of forgiveness, apparently 2 laws. I am headed to Colorado, so next week, yeah, we'll do this. It'll be a different time for me. So anyway, I'll figure all that out. But I will see you next week, and we'll be diving into this chapter. So any comments, questions, you know, let me know. Please share this. I would love more people to get connected in with this content, with our book club, with these discussions. It's the secret to life. It's how to win this game. So people aren't going to know unless you share. So share that. If you're listening to this and you're not plugged into Telegram, reach out to me. I can get you plugged in. And I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful week. And I'll talk with you soon. Bye, guys.